Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Hope you're having a great middle of your week. We have got a lot to talk about in this one because there is already the next Fragment champion being announced. So we'll go over that, talk about if it's good, bad, in the middle, and all that kind of stuff. Plus, we know the summoning events for this weekend, the 2x event, and also some of the 10x stuff. There's gonna be a bunch of them going on over the course of the week for like Supreme Kale and a bunch of different champions that we'll go into. We've got a new episode of Call of the Arbiter coming up soon, so lots to cover in this one. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so obviously the hot topic of the day is going to be the new Fragment champion being launched, but just some quick housekeeping. We have a small change coming to tag arena refills that they put out as an announcement this morning in their official Discord. So from now on, all tag arena refills from in-game offers will stay in the inbox for 99 days instead of 24 hours, but the ones that you get from like the gem shop and stuff like that will still have the 24 expiration in the inbox as normal. But let's get into the next Fragment champion. And wow, we're learning this a little bit faster than I thought. I thought we would get this like about this time next week, but looks like the pace is going to keep right on rolling, and we're getting right into the next one. And this is going to be launching on June 8th. So next Thursday is when this Fragment event will launch. And wow, the Skinwalker is getting another champion. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was unanimously kind of agreed upon in the raid community that Skinwalkers need some love. They just didn't have enough good legendaries and good epics. But they have really hit the ground running trying to add champions to the Skinwalkers. They've added Nishok, Mighty Uko, Rosalvarg, Sneaktrock, Leorius, Ragash, just tons of really solid legendaries in the Skinwalkers. And now we're getting another Skinwalker here as the next Fragment event. And this one is going to be Greathoof Loriaca, a Skinwalker legendary that is a Spirit Affinity support champion. So typically, we need to know the multipliers when we grade champions, but for a support champion, not so much. We just need to see how much utility there is in the kit. For the A1, we have a multi-hitter that's going to attack twice with a booked up 50% chance of stealing a random buff on the A1. Buff manipulation is pretty solid on the A1. For a support, I mean, it'd be nice if there was something else on here, like some other small utility thrown in there in case they don't have any buffs or something, because this isn't going to be a damage dealer. So if you're attacking a target that doesn't have any buffs, you're basically just wasting a turn here because it's a support champion that isn't going to be hitting hard most likely. So I would like to see a little bit of extra utility right here, even something simple like places a 50% decrease attack or something, just some sort of utility there on the A1 because you're not getting any damage. And then for the A2, we've got an AoE booked up 100% chance of placing a 50% decrease resistance, which is nice. And then we're going to fill the turn meter by 10% for only this champion though. But I mean, this is a 3-turn cooldown, and this could easily be plus 40%, maybe even 50% turn meter. So that's like a 2.5, 2.6 of a cooldown here on the decreased resistance. Going to be able to keep that up pretty much permanently. And that's definitely a cool role in the game. Being able to lower that resistance very consistently is something that is in raid, but it's not super common. Then we've got the A3 here. That's going to be a place block all debuffs on all allies for 2 turns, and also fill turn meter by 20%. And very importantly, it books to a 3-turn cooldown. So we get a nice rotation of default 3/3 for the cooldowns, and it's always good to see that on a support champion. And then a passive, fill the champion's turn meter by 5% for each time an ally buff is removed, transferred, stolen, or expires. And that's the important part. So you're not counting on the opponent to do something. It is going to be when a buff expires. So it's something you can kind of plan for. So this champion is really going to cycle through a lot of turns. Probably going to have a pretty decent like 107, 108 base speed as a support, and really crank through, keeping up the block debuffs and the decreased resistance on a very high uptime. And I do like how they designed this right here to also fill the turn meter of all allies by 20%, which means it's actually going to bring some utility to the team as they're cycling through turns because of the passive. So I do think it synergizes kind of well to have the passive keep boosting the turn meter, and then as you cycle through, being able to boost the turn meter of all of your allies as well. Now, obviously, I need to be able to get onto the test server, check out the base stats, and see some of the other information that goes into this champion, so I can't grade them perfectly here on today's news video, but I do think that this champion is going to be a little bit more popular than Jetney. Jetney was at a 29% participation rate, and I bet you that this Fragment champion will be closer to 50%. I think it'll be a little bit more popular than Jetney. A, because it's a support champion and you need more support champions on your account than damage dealers. So just right there, it's probably going to be a little bit more popular. And also, I think it's got a little bit more special utility than Jetney did. So I expect it to be a little bit more popular than the last one in Jetney. So prepare yourselves accordingly, because this will be starting right after CVC. So as we head into early next week, on Tuesday, we'll be getting a clan versus clan event, and then that'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. And then on Thursday is when Greathoof Loriaca will be starting as a Fragment event. And I'll get a poll over on the community tab so we can figure out how all of you feel in the community in terms of reacting to the kit. And then we'll cover that in tomorrow's daily wrap-up video. And we are also finding out what this weekend's summoning events are going to be. And we are going to be getting Stultus from Ancient Shards starting on Thursday, the 1st, with Supreme Kale from Void Shards. It's going to be an anniversary related event. As always, with everything Plarium does is an anniversary event. But, you know, I don't anticipate the 10Xs to be super popular. Like, both these champions are really good. Stultus and Supreme Kale, nothing against them. They are champions that are fun to have on your account, but we're just stretched so thin with everything going on and all the constant summoning events that I don't anticipate this to be super popular unless it's like an Acrisia or something that everyone just unanimously needs on their account to be an account changer. So even though they're good champions, I don't think these 10Xs are going to be super popular. And then yesterday we were talking about how there's like a 95% chance that this weekend is going to be 2X Sacreds, and it's nice to get confirmation from Plarium that is what's going to be happening this weekend. You can see on Friday, June 2nd, we're going to be getting a 2X for Sacred Shards, and then we're going to be getting some 10Xs that double dip with that, and we're getting Lady Kimmy and then also Prince Kaimar. So first on Friday, Lady Kimmy, and then on Saturday, Prince Kaimar. Now, Lady Kimmy, again, similar to Stultus and Supreme Kale, a very solid champion to have on your account, but Prince Kaimar is one of those like Acrisia. Prince Kaimar is an account changer. He's a champion that every account needs to unlock some certain compositions, and he's also amazing in PvP as well. So Prince Kaimar, I do anticipate that event to be more popular on Saturday. So if you don't have Prince Kaimar, I would suggest if you're going to be pulling during 2X Sacreds to hold off and do it on Saturday instead of on Friday. That way you have a boosted chance to get Kaimar. And funnily enough, the last time they did an event for Prince Kaimar, we did an article breaking down the analysis and the actual expected odds of getting Kaimar, and it's still going to be close to relevant. The numbers will have adjusted a little bit because there's been a couple more champions added to the game since then, but I just want to make sure and cover this for you to keep it in perspective. If you're excited about pulling shards and going for Kaimar, it's not as likely to happen as you would think, and this chart kind of illustrates that. So what this is showing is your odds of getting Kaimar over expected Sacreds during a 2X and a 10X. So it's perfectly relevant to the event that's going to be happening on Saturday. It's both a 2X for Sacreds and a 10X for Kaimar. So it's the exact same thing, and we already kind of covered it. And so what you can see is, let's say even if you do pull 20 Sacreds, you slide up here and you're only going to be at about a 15% chance to get Kaimar on 20 Sacreds, and it's even lower if anything. It's probably like 14% or so because they've added some champions since then. So I'll link to this post down below if you want this infographic or if you want to check that out, but I just want to let you know to keep your expectations tempered if you're going to be pulling for Sacred Shards this weekend for the 2X and the 10X. And then as we go over the in-game stuff, this is actually a semi-big deal and a change here coming to the Dragon tournament right now for the Bannerlords. So we did some coverage of the tournaments that happen in-game and the special Fire Night tournament for the Corrupted Alliance. A lot of these tournaments, they typically have the 1,800 points for 5 of the Essence. But with this one right here, we've got the 1,800 points for the 20 Essence right here. And this is the difference right here. You've got the Immortal Soul Essence and the Eternal Soul Essence. So they've done these tournaments with 5 of the Eternal Soul, but now we're getting 20 of the Immortal Soul. And that's basically like getting 1,000 of these Immortal coins, because the 20 times 50 is going to be 1,000. So it's really not that bad. If you're going to be grinding the Dragon anyway and you want something to kind of passively spend your energy on, not bad to scoop up yeah, decent rewards for 1800. I expect this to get a decent participation rate with passive energy over the next few days. And I just wanted to take note that they did adjust this a little bit. So it's important to take note of the fact that some of this changed a little bit. You've got the 20 Immortal Essence instead of the 5 Eternal. The XP banner stayed the same. The Ancient Shard stayed the same. They replaced the Charms with one of the Mortal Soulstones. And then 50 gems replaced the Rare Book. And then they, look at that, Plarium bumped up the silver. Plarium inflation in our favor. Look at that. The lowest reward is 150k silver instead of the 100k. You see how that one's 100k? And then boom, our new one that just launched today is 150k. So a 50% increase in silver rewards within specialized faction tournaments. Look at that. Confirmed, Plarium loves us. But okay, so the other stuff going on, we've got a normal Ice Golem tournament. This one's not going to have very much participation. You can see it's only got a 2% participation rate of people over 1,000 points. So the Dragon one for the Bannerlords will be like a 5 to 10x participation rate versus the Ice Golem one. And then in terms of the events happening right now, we already kind of talked about the Path event yesterday in that video. So if you want like a more like 6 or 7 minute discussion about the Anniversary Path, check that out from yesterday's video where we were talking about that. And then we'll have the Gallant Deck of Fate, and that is also covered in a news post right here in game where they talk about this and kind of break it down. And it's going to be another one of those like massive boards where it's a deck of cards and you flip them over, you're trying to get the ones that match, and then you'll get a reward for doing so and all of that. So it's nothing super new, but we'll be able to break that down tomorrow in the daily wrap-up video when we can actually see it in game. So okay, let's go over the shop, see if there's anything worth talking about here. Yeah, they're selling the coins there. Where the dungeon pack is meh. It's a pretty much standard offer. That's not going to be a great price on silver, I don't think. So let's put in the 10, and then for 4 million. Yeah, so not a good price there in my opinion for silver. Monthly pack, mini mix, appreciation, spring sale. Okay, so this one's a little bit more specialized. Let's plug it in. This one's 10. It'll probably have a few different versions, but the ratios should be pretty close to the same. And then we've got the 2 epics and 2 legendary, an average pack. So yeah, I guess for like an early to mid game player who's trending towards the high spender, might be nice to scoop up some books for your account. But all in all, it's not a great offer in my opinion. So don't feel bad about missing out on that one. And the privilege pack again is mostly just kind of an average offer. So there isn't anything super noteworthy that I'm a fan of for any of like the mid-tier type spenders. And also tomorrow about this time, or at least the time of me releasing this video, the next episode of Call of the Arbiter will be live, and we will be seeing some of the lore around the most popular starting champion in Chaos. So if you're going to be pulling Sacreds this weekend, good luck. I hope you get your Kaimar if you're YOLOing for him. And I will get some polls over on the community tab if you want to check that out to discuss and interact with you to see how you feel about the new Fragment champion launching next week. And then we'll cover that as well in tomorrow's video, along with some of the other stuff like the Deck of Fate and the things happening in game. But also, I want to shout out really quick that it is going to be a very important time in PC gaming because Diablo 4 is going to be launching. Now, I'll link down below. I do cover Diablo 4 extensively as well. The way my workflow is going to kind of work is like in the morning and afternoon, I'm going to be dedicated to Raid Shadow Legends, writing articles and producing like the daily wrap-up videos and covering everything happening in Raid from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., 4 or 5 hours. And then I'm going to be spending 5 or 6 hours grinding Diablo 4 and doing content on that as well. So it's a new big PC game, one of the biggest releases of 2023, and I'll be covering it on the channel that I linked down below if you want to follow some Diablo content. And some of the people that you may know from the Raid community, like Darth Microtransaction, he has been absolutely crushing it with the Diablo 4 content. So it's always fun to see one of the OGs from the Raid Shadow Legends community branching out into something like Diablo 4, and he's crushing it. I mean, he's got videos with like 50, 60, 70,000 views and doing a great job so far. So he's going to be a big player over in the Diablo 4 community as well. If some of you remember Darth Micro from the old days of Raid Shadow Legends, and he does still do some random videos here and there in the Raid community. He just interviewed, and it was a really good video actually, interviewing Jay Giggs last week when Jay Giggs was kind of talking about why he was departing from Raid and all of that. But yeah, just some stuff I wanted to cover for you here on the way out, and that'll do it for me on this one. head over to the community tab and let me know what you think about the new Fragment champion being launched in game, and I will see you soon in the next video. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. Peace.